began to pay off in more ways than one. Right at this first big meeting, the oldsters met some of the youngsters. The present leaders met the future leaders. Meanwhile, newspaperman McHugh was busy as a beaver. For weeks, the pages of the Saratogian were loaded with soapbox derby stories. Personal, heartwarming stories about the boys and their racers. And by George, Frank really saw to it that the people of Saratoga County knew something called a soapbox derby was about to take place. You couldn't walk down the streets of Saratoga without being conscious of the derby. Store windows told the story. Local merchants offered special prizes. The local awards were on display. And more boys took on the obligation of building a racer. Pledged themselves to work and try. Dad has to sign up with his boy. And that's good, you know. And it's good for young people when the police chief is also their friend, the derby chairman. Soon there were soapbox derby clinics all over the county, and eager-faced boys drinking in the expert advice. Advice given freely and willingly by men who understand the need, the deep need and the value, the constructive value of keeping alert young minds and hands busy and sharp young eyes focused on construction. A soapbox racer appeals to boys, commands the attention of boys in any community. In home and school, in firehouse and barnyard workshops, they learned what it means to tackle a job and stick to it. Measuring and planning, checking details with the derby rule book, drawing new designs, making sure that brake works right, or just pounding away. Then came the big day, time to load up and take off. The derby isn't just for boys, it's a family matter, too. Come on, Grandma, bring that picnic lunch. We're off to the soapbox derby. So the boy-made four-wheeled bundles of dreams rolled out of barnyards and backyards throughout the length and breadth of Saratoga County. Yes, on that day in June, the highways and byways were full of trucks and cars, full of good wishes, full of smiles and friendly waves, full of eager boys and proud parents. From Mechanicville, from Corinth, from Galway, from Bemis Heights, from Schuylerville and Hadley, from Balch and Spa and Half Moon, from Porter's Corners and Round Lake, through the historic Saratoga battlefield, trucks and cars and trailers brought together the Derby racers. Here they are now, all of them, 175 boys lined up, ready and waiting, eager to be off. Patient but alert. This is a big day for them. And just by being here, each boy has attained a kind of victory, a triumph of self-discipline, the stick-to-itiveness that it takes for youngsters to build a Derby racer. But in every community that sponsors a race, the grown-ups find that their sons get a lot of satisfaction in building and doing and trying, in being part of a big event. And the lessons learned by each boy as he sticks to the job of building his racer will make the bigger jobs of life easier and more satisfying. And not only for the boys of Saratoga County either, for just as it is in 150 other American communities every year, the Soapbox Derby is big news all the way across the country. In Oregon, for example, where after the opening parade, sons of Salem point the noses of their racers down the lanes of a brand new Derby track. And far to the south in California, sons of San Diego send their carefully built racers down a track fringed by palm trees. The Soapbox Derby is an international event. All the way across the sea, 40,000 people of a town named Duisburg stand in the rain, while the champions of 170 communities line up to be ready for the start of a Soapbox Derby that will send one of its proud sons off to the United States to represent Western Germany. And so the Derby idea goes. Back in Saratoga Springs, just like at the All-American Soapbox Derby in Akron, the cars are weighed and measured and inspected. And of course, Judge Sherman is on hand to start the first race with a bang. They're off down the two-lane track on historic Union Avenue past the famous Yaddo Park. Now, careful organization pays off. With so many races to run in an afternoon, everything must be done with split-second timing. And so it goes all afternoon. Starts, races, finishes, close finishes. Grown-ups and boys getting together in a spirit of organized, constructive fun. Finally, Thomas Whalen is named champion of Class A, and Carl Smith, Jr., champion of Class B. This is the final heat at Saratoga, and they're off. It's a tight race all the way. It's Tom Whalen on the left. Now, Smitty nosed him out. Carl Smith wins the championship of Saratoga County. Congratulations, champion. And congratulations to you, too, runner-up. Now for more fun. Of course, there's a banquet. A banquet where all the prizes can be awarded. The speeches are kept to a minimum, and attention is concentrated on the boys and their prizes. Things that boys like to own, trophies and awards, useful prizes, and lively, lovable prizes, too. Finally, the main prize for the champion, his trip to Akron to the All-American Soapbox Derby.